Hey everybody, it's JC the Blind Jedi, and today's video is going to be an introduction into the basics of Form 3 called Soresu, okay? This is based off of TPLA's formula as well as my own Chinese martial arts training. This is a one-handed form, so it works great for choreography and cosplay and things of that nature, but it doesn't actually have a lot of practical battle and dueling application. What we train this for, or why we learn Soresu, especially the infinity spin, which everybody says is so useless. It is useless because you can't use it in actual dueling or battling form. What it is what we call a flourish, or something meant to distract your opponent. Okay, and a lot of this, or a lot of what Soresu is about distracting your opponent. So what we need to know is we need to know how the proper stance is. We need to know a lot about the basics of orbits and rotation and how we can move around them, okay? We will also go into using the vertical blade. All right, this is a big one that people want to know about, is how we use the vertical blade, okay? I will finish up with a tutorial on using your orbits defensively, okay? And then I will finish up with a nice big tutorial on cleaning up your infinity spin and really making it look like you're covering your whole body, okay? So sit back, relax, and watch this one time to get the gist of it. Then make sure when you're practicing, you've got plenty of room to swing this thing around, that you're not going to be encumbered or hit anything. That's the main thing, okay? So once again, take notes if you need to, and here we go. Okay, so the first thing we need to go over is your proper stance and footwork. Now, when we see people starting off and learning, we see a lot of people who stand very, very flat and very, very horizontal or perpendicular to their orbit, okay? And we see a lot of people who spin like this, and then when they try to cross spin, you'll see they come way over here, and you can see their shoulder is actually torquing and moving a lot, okay? Now, essentially, they've got the spin move correctly, but what they're actually doing is putting a lot of movement on their shoulder, which you don't need to be doing. The use or your use of your orbits and spinning is all mostly down here at your wrist, your elbow, okay, and it works a lot with your hips and rotating around right here, all right? So actually what you want to do is stand on a line or stand parallel to your orbit spinning. If you can, as I'm sitting here staring at the camera, it's like shooting a bow and arrow or coming in across like it is for an actual stance, all right? Now, all I'm doing is just holding it out to the side of me and then swinging like this, okay? All right. From the side view, I'm just holding it out to the side. As you can see, I'm not standing here. I'm just going to tilt my body to this way, and then I'm going to actually rotate it right here. Okay? If I want to go up, it's the exact thing. Okay? I'm just turning my body and making it a much smaller target for not only other people to hit me, but also for the blades to hit myself. Okay, so the next thing we need to actually go over is your actual Soresu stance. Now, as you can see with almost every other form, your stance is actually with your right foot forward. I know Shicho, which is based off of Kenjutsu, Kendo, and everything like that, is going to have a forward stance with your right leg forward, and if my sword arm is right, then my sword leg or the same one is going to be forward, so I'm actually in a forward stance. The same holds true for fencing, Form 2 Makashi, where I'm actually, my right leg is forward and my right arm is forward. But that's not actually how Soresu works. It's defensive stance. So actually my left leg is going to be forward, my right leg is going to be back, okay? Now we teach in karate, we're teaching that ready fighting stance. Let me see if I can get into it a little bit better here, where I'm almost as wide as a riding stance, okay? My right leg is, or my left leg is forward and at a 45-degree angle. My right leg is back and my foot is pointed at a 90-degree angle, and I'm working on this line right here, okay? My left hand is going to come up, all right? I can keep it here. I can use the 2-finger Chinese form, or I can actually just keep my hand closed. It doesn't really matter. They use this for helping them to focus on the target and to keep track of their blade. But honestly, I have horrible depth perception, so I will do this out of from what I've been taught, but I don't really need to. Okay. Anyway, to go back into it, all right. We're right here into our stance. My left hand's up. My right arm right here is going to come up above my head like this, and the blade is going to angle down slightly, just like that. Okay. So let's go into it again. Just like that, where I have a nice wide stance. My left hand is out here, watching where the tip of my blade goes. My right arm is up above my head. And as you can see, even though I've got a bad shoulder, it's real easy to rotate and keep my right arm nice and fluid the entire time. Okay. Now, in order to go into the Soresu stance, as you can see, I've been pulling this off. All right. But there's 3 basic ways to do it. All right. The first is to come in and do a long, drawn-out circle, just like that, and come into it. Okay. The next one, which is the one that everybody I think likes and does, and that's one where you just come into a back spin circle and come into the stance right there. Okay. The third one is an actual cross upward swing orbit, and you're also coming into the stance. So whichever way you want to choose it, that's how it's going to pull off. Right here, or drawn out. Okay, but the left foot forward, right foot back, hand out. This is your traditional Soresu maneuver in stance. Okay, so the next thing we need to work on is our laws and some practical physics to happen when we start using our orbits and spinning, okay? So what we basically need to know, and there's tons of actual laws and things like that, we don't need to actually go into that. What you basically need to know is that if it's going down in front of me, it's going up behind me. That's basically, if it's a downward swing in one direction, on the opposite side it will be an upward swing, okay? Real easy, not that hard to figure out, okay? But what does all this mean? Well, actually what this means is that we can start playing around with the physics and moving around when we want to change direction and do things of that nature. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 180 pivot, okay? And I'm going to keep going in the same direction. So if I'm going to pivot to the other side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait on this downward swing right here, and I'm going to turn and pivot. All right. This is the one where I'm coming over here on this side, and I'm going to swing all the way over, and I'm back. The blade is still moving in the same direction. Okay. I've just changed my stance. Now, this is what's known as a cross stance. Okay, where my right arm is forward and my left leg is forward. Normally, if my right arm is forward and the sword is forward, okay, the right leg should also be forward. If not, I've crossed my stance. Now, in order to go back the way we came, okay, again, I'm going to go on this outside side, and I'm going to swing over on the top spin. Okay. Once again, down swing up, up swing down, down swing up, down swing down, upswing, up. There we go, downswing, down. There we go. Okay. Now, to keep on going all the way around, to keep more of a rotation, I'm right here, I'm in my cross stance, okay? Now I want to open my stance back up so that my right leg is forward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sweep step out, and I've turned myself 180 degrees, and now my right hand is swinging in an up swing position, okay? Now I can hook step back the other way and come back out, or sweep step out, or I can come back on this swing and go all the way around. Okay, all right. So basically, this is how you're going to keep your lightsaber blade in front of you the entire time. Okay, while you change position and move around. Okay, so our next step is to go over what we like to call, or what they call in TPLA, the third orbit. I like to call it the vertical blade. Okay, and basically what I'm talking about is, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get in a right foot forward position to show this to you. It's really easy. Is keeping the blade vertical like this. Okay, and what this is meant to do is block incoming horizontal attacks. You almost always see these in just about everything else that's not directly related to the movies. Every time you see the lightsabers, this is especially true in the cartoons, they've always got this nice vertical blade shot of them guarding themselves with the lightsaber. Okay, that's where this comes from. All right, so this is the vertical blade. I'm going to use one hand for this technique right here. All right, now for right here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the blade around myself. I'm going to bring my head, or bring my wrist and my hand overhead and bring the blade all the way around into a third orbit. Okay, now to keep on going around the same way I was going, I'm going to turn it a total or exactly 360 degrees, and I'm going to rotate it back again, spin it 360 degrees and rotate. Okay, now this also applies for if you're going to start in this way as well, you just reverse the entire action. So you're going to sit here in this maneuver right here, you're going to wrap it around this way, and then come in like this, and then turn it back around 360, bring it around your body, and 360 again, and bring it around. Okay. Okay. The next thing, after learning your vertical blade, you're going to need to know how to add it from a regular stance right here, and then bring it overhead in one smooth motion. This is a flourish. This doesn't have anything to do with actual combat, but it's a nice little choreography and flourish trick. And basically it goes like this, all right? You're sitting here with a right foot forward and your right hand grasping your lightsaber. You're going to slightly point it forward and bring your hand up, all right? I'm going to push out and push out with my wrist right here and kind of angle it like that, all right? And then I'm going to rotate it from my direction. It's counterclockwise, keeping that wrist kind of pushed out the entire way until I'm in this position right here, a forward advancing fencing position, okay? From here, I'm going to bring my elbow in and bring it overhead, okay? Now from there, I can do a lot of things. I can bring it down and slash, okay? I can bring it up into a guard. Okay, I can bring it into, with two hands and slash down, all right? It's not really, like I said, it's not really meant for any type of combat. What this does is this teaches us, okay, fluid movement and rotation. You don't want to be all jerky when you're attacking and when you're defending. You want everything to be smooth and fluid, all right? So that you know how to use your lightsaber and how you minimize the amount of time needed between defense and strike, or multiple defense, okay? Okay, so finally we'll talk about using the vertical blade with two hands. Now, this works one of two different ways. You can either move the lightsaber around your body, or you can keep your body underneath the lightsaber, okay? It's a little bit weird, I know. It starts up with a sweep step, and then you rotate, and then a hook step back out, all right? So here's essentially how it works, okay? If you're going to rotate, I'm gonna take a nice wide stance. I'm going to take a hut rider stance on this one, and I'm gonna block, all right? I'm going to go ahead and use this vertical blade. Now, if I wanna keep and rotate all the way around, now, if I want to go this way, I'm going to have to turn it. Okay. Now, once again, in order to bring it without the turning, I'm going to bring it behind my back. Okay. The other way, and this is going to be really difficult, okay, is to rotate your body underneath the blade. And you would only need to do this, okay, if you actually have a strike and you've got, or if you've got somebody in a block where their lightsaber blade is on your top of your lightsaber blade, and you can actually hold each other there without being able to counter strike or counterattack. You guys are locked up in blades. Won't really happen with the way these blades are made. They need a coating on them in order to make them stick. But this is essentially how it works, okay? So I've taken the block, nice wide stance, okay? I'm going to sweep step out. And then I can turn and rotate again, hook step into it, and I'm right back in the same exact position. From the left side, with the left hand forward, all right, this one's even worse, all right, so you can sweep step all the way over. Now from here, this is great for a counterattack if you want to paintbrush it out, okay, but if you're going to keep on going, okay, you're going to 360 turn it, and then hook step into it. Okay, so now what we need to do is work a little bit on the actual principles of Soresu as a defense, okay? Once again, you don't want to go in there with a purely Soresu defensive style trying to duel somebody, okay? You're first of all, you're on a light foot, so you don't have a lot of strength with your left foot forward, okay? It's more meant to move people's attacks out of the way, okay? And it's not really meant to cause a lot of damage. You can cause damage. I'm not saying that whatsoever, okay? And you can beat some people with this, but you really have to be really, really good at this, okay? And like I said, it doesn't really have a lot of basic or real dueling application, especially in things like Ludosport and TSL. You're going to be happier sticking with the first two forms and using a combination where form 5 comes into play. All right, but basically what you need to understand is this, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and get into guard. All right. Now, as somebody makes a downhill strike at me, I'm going to swing up. Okay. What this does is, as that person swings down and I swing back up, it's going to pop their blade back up and expose them. Okay. That from right there, then I can actually attack. Okay, or step in and attack. All right. Now, with the if somebody's going to swing up, all right. Basically, this is what your downward slash is for. However, okay, because of the way that Soresu is, all right, you're always going to be moving. So if you're going to downward slash, you're going to step. All right. If you're going to swing up, you're going to keep your left foot forward. But if you're going to swing down, you're going to move your right foot down. And you're going to move your right foot up. Okay. Now, with the vertical blade, this is very, very important. Okay. Once again, this is the parry block that I was showing earlier with the third orbit. Now, in order to use this as a defense, all right, your opponent's going to swing horizontally at you. Okay, when he does that, you're going to cross and keep your vertical blade here so that you can block his incoming strike with your lightsaber blade. Now, from here, you're going to do what's called a paintbrush. Okay, TPLA does this a lot, and it's really, really cool. What you're going to do is you're going to push back up and push his lightsaber blade out of position. All right, and then you're going to swing all the way and bring it back against him. Okay. All right. From the other side, from here, I'm going to push up, push his blade out of the way, come back around, and I can step and swing. Okay. I can pull back and swing, but the whole point is to be able to push his blade up and out of the way and paintbrush him across his chest or across his side. Okay, so we'll go over this one more time. All right, down swings, up, left foot forward. Okay, all right, low swings. Okay, swings down at the feet and even up swings. All right, I'm going to step and down swing. Okay, and finally, for your horizontal swings, I'm going to use a vertical blade, receive, and paintbrush. Okay. Blade, receive, and up and paintbrush right into it. Okay. All right. Now. Okay. Okay, so finally we're going to work on the infinity spin, all right? Now I know, and I've heard every story about why this is a worthless spin and why you shouldn't practice it and everything like that. And yet every martial arts school that every weapon martial arts school that I've been to has taught me the infinity spin, the Obiani spin. Okay, so why do we practice it? Well, it's another one of those exercises that teaches fluid movement. It teaches rotation. It teaches how to make your strikes and your blocks more fluid, okay, so that they're not so choppy and they're not so abrupt, okay. And it's a lot easier because there's a lot of static time where you're stopping and then you're moving in. So you need to be able to make those moves nice and fluid. So that is why we practice the infinity spin, okay. Now, my original tutorial taught you the original way that I was taught, but that was using a staff, which is why they allowed us to put the back of our wrist right here and put it on our hip in order to rotate it over, okay? Now with the sword or with the lightsaber, we don't need to do that, okay? So basically, when you come into your Obiani spin, you're gonna hold it right there at that point, and then you're going to turn and rotate more with your hips than you are actually angling your shoulder down at your feet, okay? So you're just going to sit there and pull it out. You're gonna come right here, turn, and rotate out, okay? You really wanna make sure that that lightsaber blade is covering all of your body, okay? You want to make it look like you've got an impenetrable lightsaber blade just covering your entire body, okay? All right. The other thing you want to know about the Obiani, the infinity spin, the plum blossom, whatever you want to call it, all right, is what's called at TPLA, which is the grand procession. And that's how you add that into your orbit spin. Okay, so if I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to rotate like that, okay, and you know that I can pivot, I can change direction. Okay, so where do we add this infinity spin into our spinning? Okay, well, it's real simple. We're going to come here. As you can see, I've turned out, and I'm going to come back over, and then I'm going to Obiani, come back up, come back over. So that's what's called the grand procession. If you do it right, you can link it up. Okay, one last thing, and that's about the infinity spin and its other name, which is the senseless spin. Now, the senseless spin simply means that we are able to put the infinity spin in effortlessly, okay? All we need to know is that it's real simple, that you can put it in at any time. We'll go 3, 1, 2, and 3, and basically that's about it, okay? We need to be able to put it in and out at any time, all right? You can also add it to your grand procession, okay? But basically, that's all a senseless spin is. If you are very good, if your technique is good and everything like that, you'll be able to pull this off with just about anything. Here is, let's make sure we get this right here. This is an old Ultra Saber staff. I'm not exactly sure how bright or how good this is going to look, all right? But I'm going to hold it right here in the middle, all right? And basically, I'm going to do the same thing, all right? So once again, if I can put the spinning staff and then rotate it into an Obi spin, all right, that's how you're going to make a infinity spin into a senseless spin, all right?